So I'm trying to keep this as consistent between the test running from the River 2 Pro to AC mains. And turn it on. Okay, well, I know it works. I'm getting boiling water there now. Dave here, how are you? People at EcoFlow asked me if I would be happy to review their River 2 Pro, as I've already got their Delta and I'm over the moon with that. And I said, yes, I'd love to. And I'm just letting you know, it was sent to me. I didn't get charged for it. So I'm letting you know right at the beginning. So let's open her up. What have we got in here? First of all, we have a big chunk of foam across the top. Kaizen foam, I think it is. There is a booklet, and down here I have the unit, and down here also at the bottom of the box is more foam. So it's sandwiched in between all of that. Let's see what else they've sent me. They've sent a power cable, so that is 240 volt Australian plug. And what else have they got? They've also sent me a cable to plug into a cigarette lighter or a 12 volt point in a car to be able to charge the unit as well, and a DC to DC point of some sort. I've no idea what that's for, but we'll have a look. I'm sure the instructions will tell me. That's the lot in there. It also has a silica gel sachet. Do not keep this, put this in the bin straight away. All the rest of it is recyclable. You know, if you're into woodwork, you could possibly make something out of this, drill some holes and put router cutters in it, so it keeps them safe in a drawer. I'm very excited about it. One of the things about it, I think it has over 3,000 charges. So you can charge empty, charge empty, charge empty over 3,000 times, being a lithium iron phosphate battery. And that is 9 years, pretty much. That's pretty amazing. And that's at a certain rate. And then after that, it's just going to start losing a little bit of its capacity. So this is going to last a long, 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 long time. I love it already. Up the top here, this is not a wireless charging bay. I thought it might have been, but it's not. I just put my phone on it, nothing happens. On the front, you have 3 AC outlets. They'd be 10 amp sockets. And you also have a switch for turning on the AC outlets over to being a DC outlet, which is the same as the cigarette lighter in a car. Cigarette lighter is a bit old-fashioned, but anyway, that's a DC outlet, and also 2 other DC outlets there. And also it's got a USB-C, 100 watt. You're kidding me. 100 watt USB-C, that's amazing. And USB-A, USB-A, USB-A. This is cool. It came charged with 28%, so it's nearly a third full already. My advice with any of these things, charge them to 100% before you use them. And on the back, it's got a DC in, which is this cable here. Or if you've got solar panels, you'd need to put them in parallel. I think it works between, it does, it's 11 to 50 volts and DC and 13 amps maximum. So make sure your voltage isn't too high. Don't try and go in series, go parallel. And on this side, you have this cable. So I can plug this into a PowerPoint. It does have something written on here. It says EcoFlow River Series only. I don't know why they've said that. That just looks like a standard cable to me, but maybe there is a reason and I'm not aware of it. So I can plug that in there, or I can plug this into my solar panels, or I can plug it into the car and run it off that. Next thing to do is charge it. I'll come back to you. I've had the River 2 Pro for about a month now, and I like to do that before I just jump in and do a video on it without really having used it. So I've put it through some tests. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to run my microwave and also my induction hot plate. Now this is just a small induction hot plate for 1 saucepan. We're going to see how it performs. To test, I'm going to run the microwave off the River 2 Pro. Now, be aware, it already has X-Boost activated. Now, they claim it will go up to around 1600 watts. We'll see what happens with that. But what I'll do is I'll put half a cup of water in a mug, obviously, in the microwave, run it for 1.5 minutes. I will measure the temperature with this thermometer. I'll tip it out, and then I'll put another half cup of water in it, cold water from the tap, and I'll connect it to mains power and run it for the same time, and then I'll measure the temperature with that. After that, I will jump in with the Induction Hot Plate, and I'll see what setting it can boil water at, if it can boil water. I'm sure you're interested. The other thing I'm going to do is I've got my battery charger station over here, and I'll bring the camera over closer to it when I do that. One of the things I'm really impressed with the River 2 Pro is it will run AC and DC at the same time. And they're all on the front face, so I can plug my 10 amp power leads into the front, and I can also have USB-A and USB-C, or the cigarette lighter, which is the 12 volt DC, plugged in all at the same time, powering different items. Very interesting. And then at the end, we'll get the dust extractor out and we'll plug one of my sanders into the dust extractor and see how that goes. This should be pretty interesting for you. Now for my first test. I have 2 cups here, both with the same amount of cold water in it. I've been checking the temperature of both. They're exactly the same, has exactly the same amount of water. I'm going to plug the microwave. Now this is an 1100 to 1150 watt microwave. I'm going to plug it into the River 2 Pro, and I can turn it on here. And you'll see I've got 82% of battery remaining, no power being pulled at the moment. I've positioned the cup right near the edge of the turntable. So I'm trying to keep this as consistent between the test running from the River 2 Pro to AC mains. Let's see what happens. I'm going to turn it on for 1.5 minutes. Now, did you hear straight away that it dropped? It sounded kind of loud, then it dropped in volume, and also the light dimmed. But it is still running. And considering this is an 800 watt battery, or 768, but they say 800, it has not done too bad. It's gone into X-Boost mode, which is standard anyway. You can turn X-Boost on and off. I don't know why, but X-Boost is on. And they claim it will go up to 1600 watts. Now it's pretty obvious to me that at 240 volts, this is not running at full power, but it is running and it will cook. It just might take a bit longer. It's tricked the microwave into believing it's getting full current. And that's pretty cool. Now it's going to enable you to use these with a lithium iron phosphate batteried, what would you call it? Battery with an inverter. That's what we'll call it. 15 seconds left. This is exciting. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. When it comes out, I'm going to pop the thermometer in it straight away. And we'll see what temperature it will get to. I'm going to put that there and let it wait. Now I'm going to put the other cup. These were both at exactly the same temperature, sat in the same room for the same amount of time. I put it exactly in the same spot on the turntable. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to connect it to mains power. All right, microwave is on mains power, 1.5 minutes. Consistent sound as far as noise level is concerned. I'm going to have a look at this while this is happening. And that is up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just under 40 degrees Celsius. I can take a photo of that while we're waiting. It's gone up a little bit. It's 45 degrees Celsius now. So that's fine. I think 45 is going to be it. How's this other one going? I'll take the thermometer out of here and we'll put that cup to the side so we don't get them confused. What do we got left? 3 seconds. There we go. Open the door. We'll take this one out. Okay, let's pop this in here now and we'll see how that goes. All right, I'm going to disconnect the power. Move the microwave out. Now I've got the induction hot plate here and we'll do a quick check on the temperature. So it's on 60 and climbing still. The microwave performs better from mains than it does from the River 2 Pro. The thing is, if I was in an area that doesn't have mains, that is all of a sudden the much better option. My next test is to use the induction hot plate. I will use a saucepan and I have 1 cup of water in the saucepan. I'm curious to see whether or not it'll actually run it, because this is a 2400 watt unit, but I can sneak it down to 1200 watts or 900 watts. What I might do is turn it on and then quickly run it back down to 900 watts and see if it can hold that. If it can, I'll try and advance it up to 1200 watts. Let's see what happens. Plug them in. Turn it on. I'll turn it on and I'll push something here. Let's see, I'll push this and then go minus, minus, minus down to 900 watts. It's on 900 watts now and it's running fine. Let's see how that goes. It turned itself off. It could not maintain that wattage. Okay, let's try turning it back on and turn it back on here. We'll take it down to 600 watts, see how it goes. I'm on 600 watts. It started again. Now with these things, typically they cycle through on and off, on and off. So the pause between it being off and then turning back on again is longer the smaller amount of current that you're after, or the equivalent current. So 600 watts, that's not really 600 watts constant. It's averaging it out. So if I had it at 2400 watts, it would be just running constantly. Bang, 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 going like crazy. Down at 300 watts, turn on, off, and wait, and wait, and wait. Come back on, off, wait, wait. So you can see what it's doing. So I do not know how much this pulls in one go. Let's have a look at what's happening over here. You can see it's cycling between 16 and around 950 odd watts. Not bad, not bad. It's doing it. That's the whole thing. Again, if you don't have mains power around, this will let you use the creature comforts from home. I'm starting to get little bubbles coming up on the bottom, so it'll boil it, I'm sure. This would be fine for frying eggs, all that kind of stuff. The food might even taste better cooked with the River 2 Pro. It might. You never can tell. Slow cook. Well, that's great. Okay, well, I know it works. I'm getting boiling water there now, and that's not bad. That's probably around about the same speed to boil the water as I got from the microwave. What energy are we down to? 74%. You do see that these larger appliances, or these appliances, do chew the power up out of the River 2 Pro pretty quickly. One of the things I can do also is I can plug a USB-C cable into my phone and put it in to a USB-C there, charge my phone, so it's running DC and AC at the same time. The water's nearly boiling, and you can see 960 is getting up to, and that's charging at a pretty quick rate, USB-C. Oh, the other thing you may not have realized, there's a fourth way of charging this machine, and that is USB-C from another USB-C outlet. USB-C doesn't matter, it's bidirectional, it goes both ways. So up here, even though it doesn't say it's DC out, which this one over here does, these are all DC out, or in the situation with the USB-C, it's also DC in to charge it, which is pretty interesting. Maximum of 100 watts. When I've connected it using this cable may not be strong enough to handle a full 100 watts. I was getting 60 watts going into the battery, charging it. Turn it off. How good is it having all the connections on the front of the unit? This is really, really nice. So at the moment it's doing 7. Maybe 7 is all that my phone can handle as far as inlet via this cable. 7 watts, that is. I'll disconnect it, and it's gone to 0. Cool. I'm beside my battery charging station. I've got a lot of batteries in here. I've got a couple of 18 volt Festool, I've got a couple of 18 volt Ryobi, I've got a 12 volt DeWalt, I've got a 54 volt DeWalt, and I've got a monster AP300S still battery, which is a massive thing. Okay, I'm going to plug it into here, 67% remaining. The good thing about this is it's got a switch. I can turn it on and off. There we go. Let's see what happens. Let's turn the light on, and that's at 30 watts basically. The battery charges are all turning on now, which is good. It's pulling 785 watts. Doing it easy. Absolutely easy. That's great. The fan has come on to keep it cool. It's dropped down in wattage because maybe one of the batteries is fully charged by now. And it would be that one. $660. Beautiful. Great. Turn that off, and it takes it back to 0. Lovely. I'll turn it off here. Makes it safe, pulling the plug out. This dust extractor, I think, is a 1200 watt unit. It does have a feature where it will work with basically whatever you supply it. But the fact that it will run is a big thing. Now this I will plug in again. This is the dust extractor's supply. I'll turn it on there. It's on, not doing anything of course. I'll turn it on to manual. Running beautifully. Next thing I'm going to do, turn it off and go to automatic. And I'll grab a sander and I'll plug it in there as well. Now this sander is 310 watts. Let's see what happens when I plug it into the output there and turn it on. Still running fine. We're pulling around the same. We're pulling around the same at 790, 800. Do the job, which is pretty good. Turn her off. There you go. Great machine. Previous models of lithium-ion batteries that have got cobalt, etc. in them are a more compact unit, more reactive metals. The lithium-ion phosphate battery is not as reactive, and hence is larger. So to get 800 watt hours into that size is pretty good. So that's 0.8 of a kilowatt hour this battery has. It converts to AC. It also does DC direct from the battery. I can charge it through all these different methods on the back and also via USB-C cable. It has everything on the front. It's got all the power points on the front. It's got all the outlets on the front and the main power switch. It's got a fan. It's only 7.8 kilograms. It will last at least 9 years with using it once and totally draining it every day. Cycle 3,000 times before it's even dropped down to, I don't know, 70% or whatever it says. I'll have a look at that and just make sure. I'll put something across the bottom. So in 10 years time, 9 years time, 10 years time, it's still going to keep working. It just won't store as much. Instead of 800 watt hours, it might store, let's say, 700 watt hours. That's brilliant. So good. Good waterproof rating. I'm not sure what it is. IP something. I'll put it down the bottom as well. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Click that link down over there. And keep coming back. Tell your friends. I'm going to do a whole lot more of this style of video. If you're interested, don't forget, subscribe, ring the bell, click notify all. I'm going to read through the specs now. This is the boring part. So join with me. Okay, the specifications. The weight is 7.8 kilograms. The dimensions 270 by 260 by 226 millimeters. Capacity 768 watt hours. 40 amp hours at 19.2 volts. Wi-Fi is 2.4G. And why you'd want Wi-Fi is only really for the app, so you can control, you can turn it on, you can turn it off, all that kind of stuff. And you can change the settings if you want to within it. When I first saw that, I was thinking, you know, do I really want Wi-Fi on a battery? Okay. Now, I think it also has Bluetooth. It does. Bluetooth is maximum power is 0.005 watts. That's 0.005 watts. For Australia is 220 to 240 volts, 50 hertz, 10 amp maximum. Car charging input is 12 volts to 24 volts, 8 amps, 100 watt maximum. Solar charging input 11 to 50 volts, 13 amps, 220 watt maximum. So that's pretty good. That's best for DCM. And then USB-C input is 5, 9, 12, 15 or 20 volts, 5 amps, 100 watts maximum. Output is USB-C is 5, 9, 12, 15, 20, 5 amps, 100 watt max. USB-A output, USB-A output is 5 volts, 2.4 amps, 12 watts maximum per port. DC output 12.6 volts, 10 amps, 3 amps at 126 watts maximum. And then the AC output for Australia is 240 volts, 50 hertz. Battery specification is lithium iron phosphate. And cycle life is 80% plus capacity after 3,000 cycles. This is what I was talking about earlier. Battery specifications, I've done that. Operating temperatures. Optimal operating temperature is 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. That's where it's going to, that's its sweet spot. Discharge temperature minus 10 to 45 degrees positive. That's pretty impressive. Minus 10, well, I'd never get minus 10 here. In the Blue Mountains, we might get down to minus 2. So it will still work. 45 degrees plus, we have had a couple of days that hit 45. So it's perfect. Perfect for Australian conditions. And the charge temperature, 0 to 45. So it won't charge below 0 degrees Celsius. You've got to be in the positive as far as freezing point is concerned. Storage temperature, minus 10 to 45 degrees. Optimal again, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. See you next time. Bye. I'm going to keep playing with this. This is so fun.